This lamp was bought new by my grandfather's uncle. I would guess sometime before World War I. He liked the lamps with the tulips, but he wanted one with more tulips than the regular tulip shades that they had. So he special ordered a shade with more tulips than the regular tulip lampshade. So he bought this lamp brand new from the Tiffany counter at Marshall Field in Chicago.
Every once in a while, a piece surfaces that isn't just rare, it's personal, intentional, and made to order. This lamp is exactly that kind of story. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp circa 1915, and what immediately sets it apart is the special order tulip shade. Unlike standard examples, this one was commissioned with an increased number of tulips, bringing the floral design lower across the surface and minimizing the typical ground areas. The result is a richer, more immersive composition with stems and blossoms dominating the design. The lamp was originally purchased at the Tiffany Studios showroom at Marshall Fields in Chicago, one of Tiffany's most important retail locations in the early 20th century. The glass is particularly notable, featuring phosphate, stringing, glass rippled glass, and elements of drapery glass, all of which were more commonly available in earlier production and became increasingly difficult to replicate in later years. Equally important is the condition. The lamp retains its original base cap and matching shade, unified by what collectors often call righteous patina, a surface that has aged naturally and beautifully over time. Many Tiffany lamps have been separated and recombined over the years, so finding a complete and original example like this is especially significant.
In terms of value, at auction, an estimate for this would be between $150,000 and $200,000.
Okay.
Now, in a retail shop, and for insurance purposes, I would put a value of $375,000 on it.
Okay.
So thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you.
My mother found this in the late 60s. There was a little neighborhood newspaper flyer, and she read that there was a glass lamp for sale. And my mother saw it, knew what it was.
Every once in a while, a single decision proves just how powerful instinct can be. A quick trip to the bank and a leap of faith turned this into one of those unforgettable finds. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp from around 1905, featuring the distinctive rose helmet shade named for its curved helmet-like profile. The glasswork is beautifully executed with soft floral forms that flow naturally across the surface, embodying the elegance of the Art Nouveau movement. The base is just as extraordinary. Known as the acanthus leaf base, it is both rare and highly sculptural, with stylized leaves wrapping around and rising upward in a dynamic design. It is so uncommon that even seasoned specialists encounter it only rarely. What truly elevates this lamp is that the shade and base have remained together over time. The matching gold-toned finish and lettering confirm that this is an original pairing, something highly prized among collectors. This is more than just a lamp. It is a rare, complete example of Tiffany artistry, preserved exactly as it was meant to be seen.
Now let me just give you the good news. This lamp is worth between $80,000 and $125,000. Mom had a good eye.
Well, I more or less inherited it when my grandfather passed away in 1964. It was purchased directly from Tiffany. Actually, my grandfather purchased 4 lamps on February 11th, 1915.
Which lamp is this
The
lamp?
one valued at $90 at the time, he picked the cost.
90, and so that was the dining room lamp.
That was the dining room lamp.
It's rare to encounter a piece that checks every box history condition and provenance all in one. This lamp is exactly that kind of exceptional find. This is a Tiffany Turtleback hanging lamp purchased directly from Tiffany Studios in 1915. The design features the distinctive green turtleback glass, one of the most celebrated elements in Tiffany lighting, known for its depth texture and luminous quality. What makes this example truly remarkable is its preservation. It retains the original patina untouched and authentic, along with the original hanging hardware, something that is missing in the vast majority of surviving examples. These details significantly elevate its importance. Equally compelling is its provenance. Passed down within the same family, and even documented in period photographs, it carries a continuous traceable history that collectors highly value. This is more than a decorative object. It is a complete and original Tiffany masterpiece rarely seen in such intact condition.
If this were for sale in a retail shop, I could see it selling easily for $150,000.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not.
All I can do is say thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
for
very
bringing
much.
it. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
They belong to a good friend of mine who passed away 3 years ago in 2005, and he left them to me.
And what did he tell you about them?
He told me that they were Tiffany and that the floor lamp was originally in New York, I think in the 40s, and then he moved to Chicago in the 50s and the 60s, and then he moved to Los Angeles until 1988, and then he moved to Palm Springs. That one he bought in Los Angeles.
It's rare to see two lamps side by side that feel so clearly connected, not just in form, but in the eye of the person who chose them. That's the sign of a thoughtful collector. Both are Tiffany Studios lamps, combining geometric design with naturalistic decoration. The larger table lamp features the woodbine pattern, where vine-like details soften the strong linear grid. The floor lamp, often referred to as swirling leaf or lemon leaf, introduces movement through flowing organic forms layered over a geometric field. These appear to be early examples, circa 1905. One key indicator is the clarity of the glass, which allowed more light to pass through at a time when illumination was essential. Another clue is the signature format, with a number and dash now widely associated with early Tiffany production. There have been some changes over time. The sockets are later replacements, which is quite common, but importantly, both lamps retain their original caps and finials elements that are often lost and highly valued today. The floor lamp rests on a decorated senior floor lamp base, finished in a way that complements the shade beautifully. The presence of an early Tiffany Studios tag further reinforces authenticity. Together, these lamps form a cohesive and highly desirable pairing, early refined and unmistakably Tiffany.
Also, a lamp like this, I would recommend putting an insurance value of $85,000. And on this one, I would put an insurance value of $45,000.
Okay.
They're both very nice examples, and I'm delighted to see them.
Great.
My grandfather was a superintendent of the grounds at an estate in Gloucester, Massachusetts at Eastern Point. And this apparently came from the estate. I don't know when, but somehow he got it. And it was in his chicken coop for years because where do you put a piece like this? Then it went to my parents' house, where it went to the attic, where it stayed for many years, where it came to my house in the 90s. This was on the sun porch for many years, and then in the summertime, we put it in the barn up in the loft, and then, I mean, it's traveled a lot, and then it went to my dining room not too long ago.
It's the kind of object that seems to have lived many lives, moving from a grand estate to a chicken coop and attic, and finally back into the light. Yet somehow it has survived, and what it reveals is extraordinary. This is a large Tiffany Studios geometric shade measuring an impressive 33 inches in diameter. Even without a visible signature, the identity is unmistakable. The glass itself, especially the richly textured background, is characteristic of Tiffany production. The bold geometric border, almost reminiscent of an Aztec-inspired motif, further reinforces its uniqueness. What makes this piece especially remarkable is its scale. Shades of this size were rarely produced in quantity, suggesting it was likely a custom commission for a large estate, possibly the very one it came from. The construction is equally telling, with internal support fins carefully placed to strengthen the structure without interrupting the design, a hallmark of Tiffany craftsmanship. While some of the hardware has been replaced or is non-Tiffany elements like the chains and decorative arms still reflect the original style. The lack of a signature actually supports an early production date around 1900 to 1902, when not all pieces were marked. This is a rare example where craftsmanship, design, and history all align even after a long and unlikely journey.
Something like this in a retail setting could be priced anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000.
Good to know.
So the pole coming down and that semicircle
are
piece,
not-
they're not Tiffany,
Okay.
does not hurt the
Okay.
value.
I was the first person at a yard sale. It was $25, and I didn't even argue. I just bought it. And the woman said it was inexpensive because she didn't have the shade for it. And I thought it was from the 30s because of the cord. And I thought maybe the glass was like a fluorine glass, which I know Tiffany. So I was hoping it was a Tiffany or a Handel, but I couldn't find any marks on it.
It's the kind of moment every collector dreams about, finding something extraordinary when you least expect it. What looked like an incomplete lamp with no shade turns out to be something truly remarkable. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp base known as the Arrowhead model, crafted in bronze with a mosaic design. It is an early example, originally intended to function as an oil lamp before later being converted for electric use. The modifications, including the drilled base and added socket, are not ideal and slightly detract from its originality, but they do not erase its identity. The real revelation comes from the construction itself. Even without a visible mark at first glance, the craftsmanship, materials, and internal details confirm its origin as an authentic Tiffany piece. These bases are highly sought after, especially early models like this one. Although the original shade is missing, and there have been later alterations, the base alone carries significant importance due to its rarity and design.
I would put a value of this at $50,000.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God! You're kidding! Oh my God!
I'm definitely not kidding.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Good shopper.
Oh my God!
My brother received a phone call from a lawyer, and the lawyer said our half-sister Phyllis had passed and left her estate to my brother, my sister, and myself. She lived in Sedona, Arizona, so I was the one that went to Arizona and went to the house, and then I went into the bedroom, and on her side table was this lamp. So I knew immediately that it was pretty special, and we found markings for Tiffany Company.
It's the kind of piece that instantly commands attention, not just for its beauty, but for the story behind how it was found. What seemed like a meaningful inheritance turns out to be a truly exceptional example of Tiffany design. This is a Tiffany Studios poppy cone lamp, one of the most iconic and sought-after models. The 20-inch cone-shaped shade, introduced in the 1906 catalog, features the flowing poppy motif that defines this design. What's especially interesting here is how the lamp came together. While the shade dates to 1906, the base appears in Tiffany catalogs, starting around 1910, and details like the style of the signature and the gilded finish indicate that the two were likely paired together at that time. Tiffany often allowed customers to select their own combinations, making each lamp somewhat unique. The base still carries its original gilded finish, applied with 24-karat gold, reflecting the luxury and craftsmanship of the period. The shade's construction and markings further confirm its authenticity and early 20th century origin. Aside from later socket replacements, the lamp remains largely original, a key factor that makes it especially desirable among collectors.
So in today's market, I would put an auction estimate of $70,000 to $90,000 on this lamp.
Very nice.
And it's really a really fine example.
These were in my parents' home. It was a historical home that was in the National Historical Society, and I was told that my father and his first wife brought them over from Europe. They used to go over and collect antiques, and I know they hung in our house for about 50 years. It was my childhood home. And when I closed the house about a year ago, I pulled them off the wall and took them with me. I think that they might be Tiffany's, but I'm not sure.
Sometimes the most overlooked pieces are the ones that have quietly been part of a home for decades. What once blended into the background can turn out to be something truly exceptional. These are a pair of Tiffany Studios wall sconces dating to around 1900 to 1905, and they appear to be early examples. Their slightly smaller scale and delicate construction suggest production from Tiffany's earlier period. Each shade is hand-blown glass, and while they may look similar, subtle variations make every piece unique. One of the most important features here is the configuration. These are 5-light sconces, which are far less common than the more typical 3-light versions. That alone significantly enhances their desirability among collectors. The metalwork shows different finish options that were originally offered, including gilded versions where the bronze was gold-plated. Notably, these sconces retain their original switches, a detail that is often lost over time and highly valued today. There are some condition issues. A few screws are missing from the mounting plates, though. Fortunately, the originals still exist. One of the shades shows visible cracking, which has been stabilized in the past. The shades also show surface dirt, which is common but should only be cleaned by a specialist. Importantly, authenticity here is not dependent on a visible signature. The craftsmanship, glass quality, and construction clearly identify them as genuine Tiffany.
And I would put a retail price on these of $45,000 to $55,000.
Oh my gosh, really? Wow, that is incredible. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, I inherited the lamp a year ago when my father passed away. Back in the 50s, my grandmother worked for wealthy people in Atherton and Menlo Park area, and apparently she found this lamp that was down in the basement. It was a dirt basement, crusted with dirt, and she brought it home, cleaned it up, and she gave it to my mother. I did some research on it. I found out it was a Tiffany Lotus Bell table lamp.
Some treasures aren't discovered in grand collections, they're rescued from unlikely places. What was once pulled from a dirt basement has turned out to be a remarkable piece of Tiffany history. This is a Tiffany Studios Lotus Bell table lamp, one of the most recognizable and elegant designs produced in the early 20th century. The shade is inspired by a lotus leaf in bloom, with a soft, organic form that defines the aesthetic of the piece. What makes this example especially important is its early production date. The markings on the base, including the Tiffany Glass and Decorating Company monogram, and a 5-digit number place it between 1902 and 1904. The small tag on the shade further confirms this early origin, making it a desirable example for collectors. There are a few changes over time. The switch and socket are later replacements, and the patina on the shade differs slightly from the base. These details do affect originality, but they do not diminish the overall significance, especially since correct period parts can sometimes be sourced. This is a piece that combines design history and a remarkable story of survival, a true example of hidden treasure brought back to light.
This is, in the condition it's in, I would say $35,000 to $45,000 retail. If you were able to get the switch and the socket back the way it should be, it would be on the higher end, maybe $45,000 to $50,000.
Wow. That's exciting. I love buried treasure.
Me too.
This particular piece has been in our family for as long as I can remember. When I was a little girl, this lamp lived in my grandmother's home. We used to love playing with it. When it was lit, we would call it the brain lamp.
The brain lamp?
The brain lamp, yes, yes.
I understand why.
Yes.
Some objects carry memories long before they reveal their true identity. What was once lovingly called the brain lamp turns out to be something far more remarkable. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp from around 1910 featuring iridescent turtleback glass. The rounded, textured surface gives it that distinctive brain-like appearance which explains the nickname, but it is not brain glass. Instead, it reflects a refined Tiffany technique using turtleback glass in a more delicate and controlled form. The base is patinated bronze finished beautifully down to the feet with a subtle lily pad design. While the glass itself is typically unsigned, the Tiffany Studios mark on the base confirms its authenticity. There have been minor changes over time, most notably the chain, which is a later replacement. This can be corrected by a specialist to bring the lamp closer to its original configuration, though it does not diminish its importance. What truly sets this piece apart is its rarity. Lamps like this are seldom encountered, making it a highly unusual and desirable example of Tiffany craftsmanship, one that blends playful character with serious collector appeal.
And I would say today, in a retail market, you might find this piece at $30,000 to $40,000.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Kathy, thank you so much. I can't believe it. Wow.
Well, this is a Tiffany, maybe, right? A diver's helmet, I think.
Okay.
That's all I know. I bought it in 1974 from an antique friend of mine, an antique dealer, and he never told me what it was, really. I bought it.
At first glance, it looks like something unusual, maybe even a bit mysterious, but certainly not something you'd expect to carry serious value. What was once thought to be a simple diver's helmet turns out to be something far more important. This is actually a Tiffany Studios diver's lantern dating to around 1900 to 1910. It's an early and highly sought-after form, quite different from the more commonly seen table lamps. The industrial, almost nautical design gives it a unique character within Tiffany's body of work. There are a few condition issues. The base plate is missing, which is where the signature would normally appear, making precise dating more difficult. The handle shows where parts of the finish have been painted and worn away, and the switch has been replaced. All of these factors reflect a piece that has clearly seen use over time. Even so, its identity remains intact. Pieces like this are relatively rare, and despite its hard life, it still stands as a genuine and desirable example of early Tiffany production, especially for collectors looking for something outside the traditional designs.
At retail today, $25,000 to $30,000.
Holy Toledo! Wow. No, my ex-wife is gonna know about it.
I ended up finding it in my father's garage. He had an office out there, and it was in a storage room after he passed away, and I was going through things.
And how long ago was that, would you say?
I found it around 1985.
It's the kind of discovery that changes everything. Something long forgotten, suddenly revealing extraordinary importance. What sat quietly in a garage for decades turns out to be a Tiffany Studios lampshade, and an authentic one. This piece dates to before 1906, from the early years of Tiffany Studios in Corona, Queens. While the signature is present, what truly confirms its authenticity is the glass itself, the construction, the pattern, and even the subtle finish over the lettering. A faint internal rattle caused by aging beeswax loosening the copper foil is another telltale sign collectors look for. The craftsmanship reflects the hallmark of Tiffany design, carefully selected glass intricate assembly, and a structure originally intended for a fuel lamp base with arms rather than modern electric fittings. Even on its own, the shade carries significant importance. When paired with the correct base, it becomes something even more complete, restoring the original vision of the piece.
In a retail venue, this could sell for between $25,000 and $30,000.
You're kidding.
Not at all. I'm not kidding.
God.
What I brought you is a lamp that's been in my family since about 1915, and it's been part of my household since the late 1970s.
And what do you think it is?
Well, the family has always called it the Tiffany lamp. I've never had it appraised. I've always assumed it's a Tiffany. I saw some marks that made me believe that it was indeed a genuine Tiffany. And when I looked online, I was a little disappointed because this type of lampshade, as I understood it, was of the lesser desirable Tiffany lamps.
Not every Tiffany piece announces itself with brilliance. Sometimes its value is hidden behind familiarity. What seems like an ordinary household lamp can turn out to be something far rarer. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp table dating to around 1910 to 1915, likely acquired new during that period. Unlike traditional Tiffany lamps with leaded glass shades, this example features a damascene glass shade, a less common type, but one that still reflects Tiffany's craftsmanship. What makes this piece truly unusual is the integrated table form. Lamps combined with a functional table are extremely rare, and examples like this are seldom encountered. The Tiffany Studios New York mark and corresponding catalog number confirm its authenticity. A fascinating detail lies in the decoration. The small carved insects around the air bubbles are not accidental flaws, but intentional artistic choices turning natural imperfections into decorative highlights, something collectors now appreciate. Condition-wise, there are minor chips along the fitter rim, but these are typical and do not detract significantly from the piece. What matters most is its rarity and completeness.
I would say in a retail shop, this could bring between $20,000 and $25,000.
Wow. That's a lot more than I think any of us would have expected. It's very utilitarian for our family. It's in our living room. It means a lot to us in that sense.
Well,
but it means a lot more now.
I agree.
That's pretty amazing.
If the lamp didn't have the table, it would be a $15,000 lamp.
It's a light fixture that hangs in our sunroom at our house.
Did this come with your house?
Yeah, it was in the house when we bought it 10 years ago.
It's easy to overlook what's already part of your home until you realize it's something extraordinary. This fixture quietly hanging in a sunroom turns out to be a fully authentic Tiffany Studios piece. The design is known as chain mail, made from small sections of Tiffany glass, each set within metal frames and linked together with strong, well-crafted connectors. The structure is both elegant and durable, creating a flowing, draped effect. This style reflects Tiffany's fascination with Moorish design, where layered patterns and texture create a soft, atmospheric play of light. The result is a fixture that feels almost like fabric suspended in space. What makes this example especially important is its complete originality. The cap chain suspension system and ceiling hook are all original to the piece. Collectors highly value fixtures that remain fully intact like this, as many have lost or replaced components over time. This is not just a decorative light. It is a rare, untouched example of Tiffany craftsmanship that has been part of the home all along.
If this were in a retail gallery today, it would sell probably for between $20,000 and $25,000.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's wonderful.
It was my grandmother's. She lived in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Probably about 20 years ago when she died, we all did a round robin, and I was the first to choose, and this was my first item.
Sometimes the very first choice turns out to be the best one. Among everything left behind, this lamp stood out, and for good reason. What you have is a Tiffany Favril glass lamp featuring a blown glass shade on a bronze harp desk base dating to around 1906. The craftsmanship is unmistakable, but what truly sets this piece apart is the color of the glass. While gold and green examples are more common, this blue shade is far rarer and highly sought after by collectors. Favril glass is known for its iridescence and depth, and here it shows beautifully. The soft glow and subtle variation in tone give the lamp a refined and elegant presence. There are a few condition issues. The base is missing some of its original feet, and the switch and socket have been replaced with the current setup showing some wear and exposure. Additionally, the fitter rim of the shade shows wear from handling over time. Fortunately, this area is not visible when the lamp is assembled. Despite these flaws, the shade remains the true highlight. In fact, the majority of the lamp's significance lies in the rare blue Favril glass, making it a standout piece, even with its imperfections.
In the condition it's in, for retail would sell between $15,000 and $20,000.
Cool.
If it didn't have the chewing around the edge,
Right.
it could be as much as $25,000, maybe even $30,000.
After an auction, I had gone back to pick up some other items that I picked, and I had become friendly with the auctioneer's daughter, and she said somebody reneged on a purchase of a Tiffany lamp. Long story short, my spouse basically said, get the lamp.
When was that?
2017. I paid $11,000, including auctioneer's premium.
Not every great find happens in the spotlight. Sometimes it begins with a deal that almost didn't happen. What was once a canceled purchase has turned into a standout example of Tiffany craftsmanship. This is a Tiffany Studios geometric lamp, and one of its strongest qualities is that the shade and base belong together, fitting perfectly as originally intended. The construction tells the story clearly, especially the flattened interior ring indicating the shade was first designed for an oil lamp before later conversion. Dating to around 1906, it represents an early and highly desirable period in Tiffany production. The clean geometry of the glass and the balance of the form reflect the refined design language of the time. What truly elevates this piece is its remarkable condition. It is extremely rare to encounter a Tiffany shade of this age without cracks or visible repairs. The surface also retains a deep original patina, untouched and rich, a quality highly valued by collectors. With increasing demand for geometric Tiffany lamps, examples like this complete, authentic, and exceptionally well-preserved stand out in today's market.
In this type of lamp. This is what we call a geometric lamp. So in today's market, I'd say for a retail price, anywhere between $15,000 or $20,000.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's good. That's very nice to hear.
This lamp was my paternal grandfather's. He was an Irish immigrant and he worked in New York City at, I think, Tiffany Studios. I inherited this lamp in 2017. Now it's my treasure.
Some objects seem almost destined to stay in a family, quietly witnessing generations' close calls and childhood memories. This lamp is one of those pieces, resilient, enduring, and far more important than it first appears. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp dating from around 1910 to 1920, supported by the Tiffany Studios NY signature on the shade, a format typically used in later production. The design leans strongly toward a classical aesthetic, especially visible in the base, which recalls a stylized Greek key motif with subtle influences that were popular in early 20th century decorative arts. The base itself is a bronze harp form, both elegant and functional. One of its clever features is the ability to tilt and adjust the shade, allowing the light to be directed, a reminder that Tiffany designed these lamps not just as art objects, but for practical living. What sets this example apart is the shade. While many similar lamps used Favril fabric glass, known for its draped appearance, this one features leaded glass, a less common choice that suggests a later production variation or adaptation. It gives the lamp a cleaner, more structured look. The surface of the base shows an acid-etched finish, creating a soft, textured effect, and the use of gilded bronze reflects the high-end materials Tiffany was known for. These lamps were always luxury items intended for those who could afford both beauty and craftsmanship.
In a retail venue, this would sell for between $10,000 and $15,000.
That's exciting. That's so cool.
I was taking a walk in the morning, and I got about 4 houses down from where I live, and there was a sign that said free. And so I walked by it the first day, and then the second day I thought about it again, and I thought, well, I'll take this, and it's pretty ugly, but I can give it to somebody, but it's a lamp, so I'll just take it.
It's the kind of story that sounds almost unbelievable, something left on the curb for free, turning out to be a hidden treasure. What seemed like an odd, unwanted lamp is actually a genuine piece of Louis Comfort Tiffany history. This lamp was made by Louis C. Tiffany Furnaces, Inc., dating to around 1920 to 1928. One of the later names used by Tiffany's company. The base is crafted from gilded bronze, decorated with delicate enamel work, while the shade is a Favril-blown glass shade with a rich, iridescent finish. The color of the shade is especially important. This warm caramel tone is among the more desirable variations, and the surface shows the luminous quality that defines Tiffany's glass. The signature LCT Favril confirms it as an authentic handmade piece. What truly matters here is the shade itself. It carries the majority of the lamp's significance, both artistically and materially. The original wiring, on the other hand, has no value and should be replaced for safety. This is a perfect example of how something overlooked can turn out to be a remarkable and valuable work of art.
In a retail venue, something like this could sell for between $10,000 and $15,000.
Oh my God.
My father was a carpenter. He did a lot of house restorations back in Toledo, but he brought the shade home. He took it upstairs in our attic, and it stayed there, I would say, for at least 30 years. Going through the attic, and we pulled it out.
Sometimes the biggest discoveries come from the quietest places, like an attic, where something sat untouched for decades. What seemed like just an old shade turns out to be a genuine Tiffany Studios hanging lampshade. This pattern is commonly called the Acorn, though in Tiffany's original catalogs, it is actually known as the vine border. The delicate glasswork, with its flowing vines and leaf-like forms, gives it a soft, organic look that fits beautifully into both arts and crafts and more modern interiors. Dating to around 1906, this is a classic early 20th century Tiffany design. It was produced in a range of sizes and colors, which makes it recognizable, but still highly desirable. The craftsmanship, especially the subtle variation in the glass, is a clear indicator of authentic Tiffany production. One key factor here is the absence of the original hanging hardware. While the shade itself remains attractive and collectible, the original fixture plays an important role in completing the piece as it was intended. Even so, this is a wonderful example of a Tiffany shade rediscovered after years of being overlooked and now appreciated for its design and history.
If this were to sell without the original fixture, just like this, it would cost in the neighborhood of $10,000. That would be a retail value on the shade.
I got it from my great aunt, and I believe it's a Tiffany lamp. It has not been converted. I don't know about the shade, what the pattern is, and I would really like to learn how to work it.
At first glance, it feels like a modest little lamp, but the closer you look, the more it reveals something far more significant. What appears simple is actually an early and uncommon form of Tiffany design. This is a Tiffany Studios student lamp, and what immediately sets it apart is the leaded glass shade with a vine border pattern. While many refer to it as the Acorn design, the correct term used by Tiffany is vine border. It's especially unusual to see this type of leaded glass shade on a student lamp, as most originally came with blown glass shades. Dating to before 1900, this is an early example from a period when Tiffany Studios was still developing its production. The presence of a 5-digit mark on the base suggests it may have been produced when Tiffany was beginning to establish its own foundry, making it even more interesting historically. Even more remarkable is the condition. The lamp remains entirely original and has not been electrified, retaining its original kerosene function, complete with wick remnants and structure for a chimney. This level of preservation is rare and highly appealing. There are minor issues, such as a slightly misaligned shade holder, but overall this is a beautifully intact early Tiffany piece, offering a glimpse into the company's earliest designs.
Do you have any idea of what it's worth?
I have no idea. I was thinking maybe $1,000, $2,000.
Okay. I think easy $8,000 to $10,000.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Maybe a little bit more. We don't see the very early lamps very often here, and it's a joy to see it.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
My brother and I really don't know how it came into our family. I lived in Mississippi in Biloxi during 2005 Hurricane Katrina. And the lamp, I'm going to cry probably, The refrigerator was on the side, washed in another room. We had 14 feet of water. The Tiffany stood in a room, did not get knocked off the table, did not. So, yeah, quite interesting.
It's a survivor.
It's a survivor.
As are you, by the way.
Thank you.
Some objects carry more than beauty. They carry survival. This lamp is one of them, having endured a moment that could have destroyed everything around it. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp in the pomegranate design, paired with what is known as a torpedo bottle base, dating to around 1906. The design is classic Tiffany rich organic forms, warm tones, and intricate glasswork that captures both light and movement. But the condition tells a dramatic story. The shade shows impact-related cracking in a concentrated area, suggesting it once suffered a fall. There is also visible oxidation along the lettering, likely influenced by prolonged exposure to moisture or a humid environment. The cap, while original, has a noticeably different finish, indicating wear or loss of its original surface over time. Despite these issues, the lamp remains intact, and remarkably so. Its structure, materials, and unmistakable Tiffany craftsmanship still shine through. Pieces like this are valued not only for their design, but for the stories they carry, and this one is a true survivor.
In today's world, I would put a retail value around maybe $7,000 to $8,000 because of its condition issues.
Yep.
It's Tiffany Studio, I know that much. But
and how do you know that?
It's on the bottom.
On the bottom, right.
It's not like most Tiffany lamps where there's a lot of stained glass work. I don't know quite why it's so different.
And where did you get it?
I got it from my dad, who got it from his dad.
At first glance, it doesn't look like a typical Tiffany lamp, and that's exactly what makes it so interesting. Instead of the familiar stained glass mosaic, this piece takes a different direction in design. This is a Tiffany Studios lamp with a Favril fabric shade, also known as a Linenfold shade, dating to around 1910 to 1915. The soft folded texture of the shade mimics draped fabric, giving it a subtle elegance that contrasts with more elaborate Tiffany designs. The base carries the Tiffany Studios mark, along with a distinctive brown-to-green patina consistent with early 20th century production. The switch style also helps confirm a slightly later date within that period. What makes this lamp appealing is its understated character. Rather than relying on bold color and intricate glasswork, it showcases Tiffany's ability to create beauty through form, texture, and finish.
And I would place a value on this for insurance from $4,000 to $6,000.
Really?
It's a lovely lamp, and I'm so happy that you brought it to the roadshow.
My dad gave it to me. After he retired, he started to go to flea markets, and that's what he occupied his time with.
He was a collector of sorts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's a Tiffany lamp. I love it. I use it. That's about it. I don't know how much he paid for it.
It's the kind of lamp that feels right at home, used, loved, and part of daily life, without ever fully revealing its story. What seemed like just another flea market find turns out to be a genuine Tiffany Studios creation, though with an interesting twist. The base is known as a Zodiac base, originally part of a desk set, while the shade is a Linenfold design, both dating to around 1910. Each component is authentic Tiffany, even if this particular pairing is somewhat unusual. Normally, these two elements wouldn't be seen together yet. Here, they fit perfectly, suggesting either a later pairing or a rare variant. The craftsmanship is unmistakable. The glass, the construction, and even the cap all reflect Tiffany's quality. In fact, the cap itself is a significant element valued on its own for its design and material. Condition does play a role. The shade shows visible cracks, particularly in the lower panels, which affect overall value. However, the strength of the individual components, a good base, a desirable shade, and a high-quality cap still makes this a compelling piece.
You get a very good cap, you have a good shade, and you have a good base. So even with the damage, I think probably retail $4,500, right around there. If it had no cracks in the shade, you're probably talking about $7,500 or so.
My great-great-grandmother lived in Mineral Point, Wisconsin in the late 1800s. They moved to Chicago, and they were a pretty well-to-do family. Then they lost everything they had in the Great Depression.
They didn't lose this.
Nope.
And you don't know at all how the damage occurred over all those years.
I don't.
Some pieces carry more than just age, they carry survival. Through decades of change and even financial hardship, this object remained quietly holding on to its place in the family. This is a Tiffany Studios chamber stick dating to around 1905. The bronze base shows expected wear from time, but it does not significantly detract from its presence. What truly defines the piece are the glass components. The shades are made of Tiffany opalescent glass, known for its rich color and luminous quality. One shade remains in excellent condition while the other shows visible chipping. Below them are the bobeches, the glass elements designed to catch wax, and here the condition becomes more critical. Cracks and losses in these parts are difficult to address, as replacements are rare and restoration is complex. The Tiffany Studios mark and pattern number on the piece confirm its authenticity and connect it directly to one of the most celebrated American decorative arts makers. Even with condition issues, the craftsmanship and design still stand out, reflecting the elegance and innovation of the early 20th century.
In a fine retail establishment, you would find this in a range of $3,000 to $4,000.
Wow.
That's pretty good for all that damage.
Yes, it is.
If it's possible to find a bobochet, now your piece would be worth $12,000.